Hello and welcome to part two of answering question one, how do you know? I hope you have reviewed the material from the first part, which will allow you to be successful in this, which is a step-by-step run through of how you answer question one. Again, a reminder of just some of the guidelines that we need to make sure we stick to so that the maximum learning that can take place. Have your phone away or close other tabs, a pen and paper but to do some of the activities, pause the video but to complete these activities, and review the material at the end. So to start with, just a recap, I want you to write out both of these in full. Two questions really, which require you to finish the sentences with as much detail as possible. I'm going to give you 2 or 3 minutes for those. Now, I say 2 or 3 minutes, I'm going to give you 3 minutes. You've got 1 more minute. Okay, so hopefully that you got some of the points on the board. If not, you may have got some other ones, which are fine. I think some other ones for important to know the style of your question one. I think for one thing, it will help you with your question two, how you do general but source analysis. And linked to that, common errors. You've got most of them on there, but I would also maybe add trying to include your content and provenance when you're actually going about your source answer. Yeah, as I maintained before, you only need to do one if you do it well. So let's have a look at what a question looks like finally. Now, you'll actually see they will always look like this, except, as we'll come on to, the tail of the question will be the thing that is different, as well as just the wording before it. So we can actually recap some of our images here to help you remember what each means. Start off with it's a source, so we know that it's either going to be written or visual. We've got our word here, it is supports rather than opposes. It's quite simple, as is the tail of the question, just the last bit after supports, the Soviet Union. Now remember, everything has to be geared around that, nothing needs to be got on any other topic, and this is quite useful because you've got it on the whole of the Soviet Union rather than an event or something like NATO. Now moving on to how you answer it, okay. We've covered the word explain, okay. You've got to set out your reasons. And then we know that it's a source, so you'll be looking at two things in particular, the content of it and the provenance. And this is linked to your contextual knowledge, or your contextual knowledge proves your answer, basically. Finally, and I know this was first last time, but this time it's last, thinking about the number of marks, okay, and that correlates to the amount of time, so it's about 6 minutes. So let's have a look at what the source is then. Now you'll see at the top you've got the, the first thing is that you'll notice that it's a visual, okay. Now it depends how you feel about this. Some prefer written or visuals. I've talked about that a bit, about having to be careful with visuals. You've then got the provenance, at top, and then you've also got the content, obviously, in the visual. Now we can move on to actually having a look at how you answer it. Before doing so, I recommend recapping what you know about the topic. In this case, it's the space race, and I'm going to try to put a link on the video to a nice short video about the space race. So I'm now going to actually talk through how I would answer it. I'm going to switch to my visualizer, but I'll be talking through a few aspects of my thinking. Now, just putting it all together, the first thing that I would note that you were looking through it is actually what we see in the provenance. Okay. Now, I'm interested by the fact that it's a poster. Okay. Now, posters for the purpose of actually with GCSE sources in history, often they are the other P word of propaganda. Okay. Now, the title of it is Glory to the Soviet People, the Pioneer of Space. Well, glory and pioneer are very positive, or in this case, supportive words. So that's something I can probably touch on. What I should have done earlier is said that actually this is a poster made by the USSR. So that's interesting to note that it's their propaganda. And then probably most important of all, we've got the date on here, 1958. 1 year after the USSR sent the first man-made satellite into the space to orbit the Earth, Sputnik, Sputnik, and that was on the 4th of October. Now that's the exact kind of contextual knowledge that you'll need, but to bring into the answer. So that's the provenance. Now, that if I was actually writing an exam and I was a bit in a rush, which I think you need to be with this question, I would probably write how I know this source supports the Soviet Union just based on the provenance. However, for the purpose of this video, I want to actually go through content as well. So, what have we got in the content? Well, I can't translate Russian, nor would it be expected that you could. What I can see, though, is obviously a Soviet spaceman, and he's standing tall and proud. And have a look at what he's holding. He's holding the hammer and the sickle, the symbols of your communism. Now, the final thing to note is the fact that we've got these 4 stars, which denotes the 4 Sputniks that actually went into space. So from this, I would actually now start answering my question. I do think often some of the best students, they are doing writing on the source paper, and that should help them with their question. So if you just bear with me for a moment, I'm going to switch to the visualizer view.